Hello, my lovey. Welcome to another episode of ZFG Living Podcast. We are joined today by Nickie Piper, the journalista queen. I can speak from personal experiences that her journals are the bomb. Welcome, Nickie. So glad to have you here.
Hi, Melissa. Thank you so much for inviting me on. It's lovely to join you.
Excellent. Well, so let's just dive right in. I want to hear about how you uncovered the magic of journaling.
Oh, wow. So that started way back in, I think, probably around 2015. I was really not in a very good place. I was quite deeply depressed. I was in debt. I just split up from my husband after 24 years. I wasn't actually earning enough money to make ends meet. And I was really kind of in a dire place. And I was actually at a point where I was wondering what life was all about, to be perfectly honest. And I really discovered by accident journaling by accident, because I was just so fed up with myself, so fed up with feeling down and miserable and depressed, as I realised it was that now. Did anything ever change in my life? So I literally just picked up a pen and a scrap of paper, because I didn't actually have enough money to buy journals in those days. So I used to write on the backs of envelopes and things like that. And I just used to record how I felt. And then it used to actually, and I don't recommend this to my clients, but it does help sometimes. And it just used to turn into a whinge fest of how awful I felt, to be perfectly honest. And then it wasn't such a great distance in time working out that actually, not only if I wrote down how awful I felt and then looking back over a period of time, which is probably months, maybe a year or so, realizing that things did actually change. And if I started to write out, actually, not only do I feel how I feel, but if I bridge that across into how I actually wanted to feel, my day got infinitely better.
Wow. And so you just organically came across that mindset work naturally.
Yes.
Yes. Now we know that once we do rehearse for success, or, to write about how you wanted to feel, how you wanted your life to be, then that builds the brain, the neural pathways, so that you can better create that.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I was in such a place where, I really couldn't afford to buy anything that wasn't absolutely necessary. And like I said, I was writing on the backs of bills, basically, envelopes and
the irony.
And sticking things on post-it notes by the side of my cooker. And there was a point where I wanted to start doing something else. I wanted to learn something different. And that, I think, was the start of my personal development journey, if you like, because I had, once I started journaling and started trying to work out, what is this thing? Things, it's amazing how things listen, I think, but things started popping up in my Facebook feed around personal development, which was completely new to me at the time. And I wanted to learn something a bit different. And I'm quite techie. I actually I'm an IT project manager, so for a large government organisation. So I spent a long time in broadcast media and IT. Don't necessarily go hand in hand with creatives, but it does for me. And I wanted to learn how to be a bit more techie, how to build websites and things like that. But I also wanted to learn and journal a bit more around, the mindset work and stuff like that. So I combined the two. So what I actually did was I started to build websites, and as my subject matter, I used my dream life.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
So I built my dream life on a website while I was learning to play with the tech.
That's so cool. Vision board, what?
Yeah, a vision board on steroids, I think. And it was, I think, probably about the beginning of 2020, maybe somewhere around there, 2019, I can't remember when, but a few years ago. I was sent an email reminder for the domain renewal, and it's like, oh, I've forgotten about that. I wonder what it's I completely, utterly forgotten about it. And when I opened that website and looked at what I'd actually written, it was like, oh my goodness, dear goddess, I am doing this and I'm doing that and I'm on my way here and I'm doing this. And wow. So the power not to be underestimated of journaling your dream life. And I used to write it all the time. So I moved from writing about how dire and awful I felt and how bad and appalling my life was, and what a miserable, nasty person I was, and all of those horrible things that you
Right.
get when you're in that space, to transitioning across to I'm wanting to feel a bit better and writing about what it would be like, and just trying to embody feeling a different person, if you like, a different mentality, a different emotion in my day, to then taking that one step further and thinking, well, what do I want my ideal life to be like? And to be quite honest, I had no clue what I wanted to do, but I journaled around feelings and
Okay.
the types of things that I could do. So I'd like to be more creative. I'd like to be more of talking to people. I didn't even know coaching was a thing back then. I'd like to be talking to people. I'd like to have more freedom in my life. I'd like to have passive income and all this kind of stuff that
Mhm.
used to go into my dream life. Um, and I just used to expand on it a bit here and a bit there, and yeah, and
And
here
I
we
think
are.
because you were approaching it from such a place of deep emotion, because that's what our subconscious, that pre-linguistic part of our brains connects to, is feeling.
Mm, yeah,
So by not being wrapped up in the how,
yeah,
you were just expressing what would feel good, what would make you have a happy life, as opposed to, stressing about money and being in emotional turmoil and, all the things that sound so tidy when you describe it. But when you're in that situation, man, it's rough.
yeah. It really was rough.
Suicidal depression is no joke. And
No,
it's so incredibly difficult to imagine pulling yourself out of it. And the fact that you just naturally, like, your subconscious is like, okay, we've got this, you know what I mean? It's like they were pushing you towards how to heal
yeah,
yourself. That's incredible.
it was. But I mean, that's not to say that I didn't have my struggle and my resistance to actually
Oh, of course.
writing. It's and I really do relate when you know yeah I run a journaling group, and a number of people in there, especially when new people come in, I have such resistance to writing. Yeah. I
Yes.
can really relate to that one. And it's all in the subconscious, I think. The ego mind trying to protect you, because if you're writing and you're creating something new in words and, like you said, in neural pathways, then the mind's going mad, isn't it?
Oh,
It
yeah.
wants to protect you, it wants to keep you safe, it wants to give you other things to do. But all of a sudden the ironing is more interesting, and the dog needs walking, and
Yeah.
you know all of those other things, which I experienced, and it really took me by surprise just how much resistance I had.
Yeah. Those
So when I
saboteurs are
started,
always there waiting and
yeah,
trying to pull us back into how it was
yeah,
yesterday, because you're alive
yeah,
now. Because so yesterday wasn't bad, even though, we're here like, oh, it's bad. I don't
yeah,
want
yeah.
that.
This is safe. This is what we know. This is where we want to stay. And it's like, no, this is not where I want to stay.
Yeah.
Not
See you
at all.
later. Crab
Yeah,
pot pulling me back down in
yeah,
there. No thanks.
yeah. And part of my vision and my dream was, to be creative and to create things, but what I didn't know.
Hmm.
Um, But when I started journaling and decided that, actually I was going to take it a bit more seriously than scraps of paper and backs of envelopes, oh, excuse me, I started to use Excel, because I still wasn't in a position to be able to buy things. So I
Hmm.
started to use Excel. So I made, a 30-day journal in Excel with the headings that I wanted. Not,
Hmm.
I mean, in those days, I couldn't find, even if I had the money to buy something, I couldn't
Right.
find anything that I wanted. So I ended up making my own in Excel and expanding it, and expanding my Excel skills as well. And
So, Nikki, I understand that you are releasing a book about journaling that's not actually a journal. So tell me more about that.
so this is the first book in my own right. I am part of collaborative books previously, but this will be my first book in my own right. So it will be the Art and Soul of Journaling, which obviously is my company, the Journaling 101 series, which is my trademark. And I had the inspiration based not only on my life, but also the trials and tribulations that I've had with journaling and the help that I can now give to others. So the first one I'm hoping to launch in January. Obviously all around getting started. So it's going to be the Journaling 101 series, and there will be the inspiration I had was around about 40 titles, so covering all different aspects of journaling for certain things. Obviously, getting started is the first book, and then we're going to be moving right through the spectrum of emotions. I'm going to be including business, I'm going to be including relationships, journaling for confidence, for empowerment, for
Oh, this is brilliant.
and any word that you can think of, on the emotion front, it's there. I've got all the covers designed, I've got an idea and framework for the insides. Is all I've got to do is actually sit down and write.
Oh, this is brilliant. I love it. I absolutely love it. Because as you know, I publish my books, and, I'm in the process, well, we'll be out by the time this airs, of putting out my own anthology with different contributors, so that I can work on, getting more people's voices out there, and you being able to guide people to go within themselves and perhaps, sort of reprogram some subconscious things, or to reframe some events so that it can be helpful instead of hurtful. That's
Yes, yeah,
that's
that's
the good stuff.
powerful. Yeah, yeah, and I am actually training in a new modality as well to bring into my actual one-to-one clients. So I do journaling one-to-ones, I do coaching one-to-ones, and the new modality that I'm training in is called heart healing, which basically is hypnotherapy based. But
Okay.
I can bring it in to get rid of that I'm not enough feeling,
Oh my goodness,
or
such a
yeah, it's that in itself, I think, is going to be such a game changer for so many people, getting to the root causes, of why women especially, but not just women, we never ever feel enough,
right.
whatever it is. And I suffer from this, and I'm beginning to understand why. And obviously going through the training myself, it's like, oh my goodness me, I've got to take this out to the world. I'm going to be bringing it, and because it is a one-to-one therapy based, but it's going to be absolutely massive. And
That
I'm
is
sure when I've finished my training, I can work out a way to be bringing it into to groups, doing group coaching and group work with it as well. So
yes, indeed. Because going from one to one, it's so powerful to coach someone individually, and it's also very powerful to coach in groups, and sometimes more powerful, I think, depending on the personalities involved, because people will help each other with concepts.
yes,
And as as I know, having taught, when you can teach someone how to do something, then you really, really understand it. And so that's gorgeous. That's the same thing with, whether, highly recommend, guys, groups, coaching, get accountability partners, have that feedback loop going so that you're reinforcing the good stuff.
yeah,
Yeah, and a journal would certainly fill that bill, because you're daily sitting down with this and following the prompts and looking within, and from someone so artfully made this journey herself. Thank you so much, Nikie. I really appreciate you sharing all of this.